This conference will now be recorded.
So we look at what causes type 2 diabetes. And the general misconception about type 2 diabetes is that people do not have enough insulin in their bodies. And as a result, you need medicines to increase the amount of insulin in the body. That is not completely true. In fact, it is more false than true, because what is happening is the body is actually producing more insulin, but the required quantity of insulin is not getting released to the bloodstream. And unless enough insulin is getting released to the bloodstream, your blood sugar levels will always be high, which is what we see in a glucometer test. So with type 1, what happens is there is type 1 is an autoimmune disease, and basically the body destroys the pancreatic beta cells, and as a result there is no insulin produced in the body. So it makes sense to have external insulin injected to be able to keep the metabolic functions okay. But in type 2, the opposite is happening. There is a lot of insulin already being produced by the pancreas, but it's somehow not coming to the bloodstream. And as a result, it is not effective at all. And the treatment that that is predominant in the medical industry is give the person more insulin. But what are we trying to do? We are actually making the problem worse. Like, the person is producing enough insulin, but insulin is not in the bloodstream. But we are and giving external insulin only makes the situation worse. Hey Sanjay, there is a background noise from your side, so I'm just putting you on mute. Um, so what? So as a result, we are only making the situation worse. So a lot of cases, you will see the person started with medicines and then was given insulin, and then the dosage of insulin was increased until nothing worked, and someday the person just died from liver disease or kidney disease or something like that. That's very unfortunate, and it happens because we are treating we are actually doing the incorrect treatment. We are giving more insulin instead of, like, we should be reducing the insulin and making use of the insulin that is already there in the body. So think about your home has enough water supply, but your pipes are clogged. Your pipes have some jam in it, and the pipes are clogged. And as a result, enough water is not, you have water in the water tank, but it is not coming to your home, like not coming to your bathroom or the taps. So the treatment there should not be that you buy water from outside. Rather, you should be cleaning the clogs in your home so that you can use the water that is currently in your home instead of depending on external water. The same thing happens with type 2 diabetes, where the body is producing more insulin than needed, except that it's not coming out to the bloodstream, and that is called as insulin resistance. And we will look at what insulin resistance is in this next slide. So what is insulin resistance? Let's take a look at this particular slide. What happens is, whenever we eat, there is blood glucose being formed, and the blood glucose is converted from the food that we eat, mostly high carb diets, like processed rice, like processed foods like rice, white rice, chapatis, rotis, all of the things that you hear us telling not to consume in our group. So all those things produce high amount of blood glucose. So whenever the glucose amount goes up in the body, the demand for insulin also goes up, because insulin is the transporter that is needed to transport that glucose to different parts of the body. So the high glucose scenario demands for high insulin to the pancreas. The pancreas is our organ that produces insulin. So if you look at this particular diagram here, there is insulin, there is cells, and then there is glucose. What has become is the glucose is not able to enter the cells because the insulin receptors are faulty. The insulin receptors have become intolerant or resistant for insulin. So what is happening is the glucose is not able to enter the cells, and as a result, it is not able to get transported to different parts of the body where they are needed. And as a result, there is excess insulin in the glucose in the bloodstream. That is completely, that is what you see in your glucometer, but that the glucose is not being able to use. Like your brain needs glucose, our body needs glucose, it is not able to go at all and help. So as a result, what is happening is, we have excess insulin that is kind of locked in the pancreas, not able to come out because insulin receptors are not working. We have excess blood sugar because there is they are not being transported to different parts of the body. Hey Anand, when you say clear audio slides, I didn't understand. I mean, is there a problem with the audio? Okay, let me know what problem you're facing, Anand. So, so what is happening is there is high glucose, there is high amount of insulin, but the cells do not have energy in them. That's why we are feeling tired, fatigued, hunger, cravings, thirsty, all kinds of issues. But even though we have excess of everything, it is still not being used. So what happens is, we need to, type 2 diabetes is a problem of excess. Like there is excess blood glucose, there is excess insulin, there is excess of everything. The only problem is we are not able to use it. So instead of adding more to it by taking external insulin or medications or whatever to increase the amount of insulin, our focus should be to, like, number one, decrease these excesses, decrease the blood glucose, decrease the insulin. And the other aspect is, whatever we have, we make use of it. We don't we don't waste any of it by just keeping it in our bloodstream where it is not being used. It's passing in urine, excess blood glucose and things like that. Instead of doing all of that, we should be making use of it. And we will look at some of the ways we do it. Meena is saying, sir, the message comes, you can't join now. Why? Meeting is unlocked. Meeting is unlocked, yeah. There should not be an issue with Meena not being able. Sir, message if you can join in the session. Yeah, it's weird. She should be able to join. So
maybe she had opened it twice, I guess. So that could be one reason, I guess.
Okay, yeah, not sure. So, so yeah, I mean, so we will look at some of the ways basically to, and let's understand why that happens. Why is it that the insulin receptors are not working, and as a result, the glucose is not able to enter the cells? And the answer for that is, our fat. So when we eat food, a part of it gets immediately converted into energy. So it becomes converted to blood glucose, and from glucose we get energy. That's why when we eat, we get energy. But any excess glucose, any excess requirements is converted to fat. So there are two kinds of fat. One fat is the one that is around our organs. So if you we do an X-ray of our organs, like our pancreas, our liver, kidneys, we will find a layer of fat around it. The other fat is very visible, which is our belly fat. All of us have belly fats, right? So there are two different kinds of fat. The one around the organs is called as visceral fat. The one around on our bellies and in our bodies, external looking fat, is basically called as subcutaneous fat. The first fat is the more dangerous kind of fat, okay, the visceral fat, because it prevents functioning of our organs. So that's why diabetes is the leading killer of any kind of heart disease, any kind of kidney disease, any kind of liver disease. What is happening there is, all these organs have a fat layer around it, and they are not able to do their proper functions, and as a result, they slowly are dying, and one day they take us away with them. So it's very important to remove that layer of fat, which is invisible, but is like, it's a big danger to our bodies. So just imagine if you have like a piece of cotton, if you dip it in water, it will immediately absorb the water. But imagine now if you have the piece of cotton in a balloon and you dip it in water, the cotton will not be able to absorb the balloon, the water. That is because of the layer of balloon around the cotton. The same thing is happening, with our cells. Think of the cells as, the cotton. The water is basically the blood glucose, but there is a layer of fat, and as a result, it is not able to enter. So our only job to reverse type 2 diabetes is basically remove that layer of fat. It's as simple as that. Once we remove the layer of fat, the insulin receptors are basically embedded in, they are kind of getting clogged by the fat right now. So once we reverse it, the insulin receptors again start working fine. They are able to transport the glucose into the cells and everything works fine. So our primary goal of insulin resistance is basically to reverse the amount of fat that is around our organs. Okay. Next, how do you measure insulin resistance? A very interesting question, and I'm going to make things a little too super simple for people, for us here to understand. The actual science is a little more complicated, but insulin resistance means that the amount of insulin your pancreas is producing is higher than the amount of insulin that is coming out in the bloodstream, right? So whenever we do an insulin test, a fasting insulin test, and this is a test we always recommend people to do, you will find the insulin test, the insulin value is very low, in the bloodstream. So how do we know that whether our bodies are producing perfectly normal insulin or not? So it's not possible to go inside the pancreas and test, because the only test we can do is from the bloodstream. So what we do is, there is another hormone called as C-peptide, which is basically is produced in equal amounts as insulin, and it has no problems coming out to the bloodstream, unlike insulin, because the insulin receptors are not working. C-peptide receptors are not, there are no issues with it. So what we do is, we basically measure the C-peptide. When we measure C-peptide and we see the C-peptide is at more or less healthy levels, but the insulin levels are low, that shows that means there is a problem with insulin regulation, insulin resistance in the body. So that's why we always ask people to check their C-peptide test. HbA1c test is very important. Your fasting blood sugar is important. Your PP, the blood sugar is important. All of these are important, but C-peptide is kind of the deterministic test for insulin resistance. Even much before insulin resistance, like young women, very young women, like age 14, 16, 18, they these days go on to develop something called as PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, or the more dangerous form of it, which is the PCOD, which is polycystic ovarian disease. So even in those cases where they have not gone on to develop full insulin resistance, a C-peptide test and a CRP, which is a C-reactive protein test, gives a very good indicator of this lady, how bad it is, how bad insulin resistant she is going to be, how much, what chances she has with diabetes and things like that. So getting diabetes in future. So insulin resistance, the most important test that you guys should be doing, all of you should be doing, is the C-peptide test, because that will tell you how healthy your pancreas are. If we see somebody's C-peptide levels are super duper low, that kind of means that the pancreas are not healthy at all, and they are not even producing enough insulin, which will take the treatment to on a different channel. But in most cases, we do see that the C-peptide levels are within almost normal levels, which means all work we have to do is reversing this layer of fat. So now let's look at any questions so far. And Raj, if you want to add something.
No, you're good. Let people ask some questions.
Yeah. Questions, Saranya, Mir, Sanjay, Anand? Okay, all right. We'll go to the next slide then. So what is reversal then? What are we talking of when we say we are going to reverse our diabetes? Reversal clinically means, and this is a very hotly contested, topic. Reversal and remission, all of these things are the same thing. What it means is you have basically stripped the layer of fat around your organs, and as a result your insulin resistance has gone away. So reversing diabetes also means reversing your underlying insulin resistance. Okay, so clinically what it means is for 6 months and longer, if you have been able to keep your HbA1c to non-diabetic levels, which is like less than 6.4, without any medicines, like without your any need for insulin, any need for oral medications or any herbal supplements or whatever, then you have then it is considered that you have reversed your diabetes. Okay, and that is a more lasting change because the underlying problem is gone. Next is the other thing is what is control then? So another thing we hear is, oh, my diabetes is all okay now, I have taken medications and I'm taking medications and everything is fine. My blood sugar, I just tested my HbA1c, it is like 6.3 or 6.4, so my diabetes is now gone. That is control. Anytime you need medications to bring your sugar levels down, is not diabetes reversal, it is diabetes control. Okay, so control is a lot easier and a much shorter. This one, if somebody comes with very high diabetes and you inject insulin to that person, and you keep doing it, the blood sugar will come down below 6. It will even go down, to like 5.5 or whatever levels. But that does not mean that you have reversed your diabetes. You have merely controlled it. At that point, controls are almost always very temporary. Few months later, something happens, because you have given external aids for the pancreas to produce insulin and things like that, what happens is the pancreas lose their ability to increase produce insulin, and as a result it produces less and less insulin, and you need more and more medications. And like we discussed, it's one vicious trap you fall into. More insulin needed, okay, more insulin required from the body, more insulin is now given. It keeps on until people are taking many different types of insulin, very high dosages, until everything stops working and the life, people die. So as a result, so what is important is we take the reverse path. Control is mostly a way of using medicines only, and your reversal is always using dietary lifestyle modifications and things like that. So we will talk about more of a reversal, because control is not something that is going to help us for long. Okay. Intermittent fasting is one of the most fundamental pillars that we use to basically reverse our diabetes. And what intermittent fasting is when you don't eat anything and you only drink water, green tea, and black coffee for for at least 16 hours. So 16 hours is the minimum you need to basically to fast to see any benefits of intermittent fasting. This 16 hours is very important, because most people that intermittent fasting is, I'm fasting for 12 hours, I'm fasting for 13 hours, I am able to do like I'm anyway fasting, so why am I not seeing benefits? Unfortunately, intermittent fasting benefits only begin at a 16-hour mark, not below it. Okay, so it's actually counterproductive. It actually creates more damage than giving benefits if you're fasting less than 16 hours. So I will tell you how I fast, and when I started fasting, how I started. It's basically when you begin with a when you begin with a, say, usually people begin with no breakfast. So what they do is they are having dinner whenever they're having dinner, then they skip breakfast and then they are having lunch. So maybe I'm having dinner at 8 o'clock, I can have lunch at 12 o'clock, I'm skipping breakfast. Okay, that's one form of intermittent fasting, that is 16 hours. There is a 16-hour gap. You can increase it. Some people like want to have lunch at around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. That takes it to about 17 hours or something like that. So that is like 17-hour 18-hour fast. The more you fast, the better it is. 16 hours is the minimum, and I'll tell you what happens in that 16-hour period. The first thing is the body goes into a starvation mode. When you're not eating for an extended period of time, like the 12-hour 13-hour, there is no food in the body, there is no blood glucose in the body, so no energy is there in the body. So the brain is getting a signal that there is not enough food, and there is a scarcity of food and all. So the brain signals back saying, okay, fine, now the body should be conserving fat. So whatever is there in form of energy, glucose, gets converted into fat, because fat has been for thousands and thousands of years our body's mechanism of storing energy for bad days. That's how human race has survived famines, droughts, and all that, where there was no food. So there is increase of fat production in the body. Okay, but then this process keeps on. 12 hours no food, 13 hours no food, 14 hours no food. The body is under stress, there is no food, 15 hours there is no food, 16 hours still there is no food. At that time the body is like, okay, fine, nothing is coming from outside, let me see inside what all things are available. Okay, so it then switches itself and starts looking into our own energy sources and discovers fat, that hey, there is enough amount of fat, we don't need blood glucose, I can do something like produce ketones and be able to get the same amount of energy. So at that point, kind of a shift starts happening, is where like, okay, we don't need to depend on glucose, there is abundance of fat in the body. All of us have huge amount of fats in our body, even though we may not look obese from outside, we still have a lot of fat. So basically it looks into and says, okay, there is enough fat storage, we don't have to worry anymore, let's begin burning our own fat. Which fat? The fat around our organs, the fat on our bellies. So that is the beginning of a process where ketosis comes in. This process of switching from glucose burning to fat burning begins at around the 16-hour mark. However, it's just the beginning. You will not enter ketosis right away. For to enter ketosis, you need good amount of time between process beginning and actually hitting meaningful levels of ketosis, which is, there are blood markers for it, 1.2 millimolar or whatever and higher, but the process begins there. And once you have begun the process, you kind of told the brain that now we don't need to worry, there is lots and lots of fat in the body and I am good, I will be able to survive. Okay, so you went from starvation mode where, oh no, there is no food, there is nothing, crisis mode, stress mode, to now you are in an abundance mode, like I have enough and I'm happy, I will be able to do with it. So that's why if you see people who fast, like today, even right now in the group, just before this session started, there is a lady, her name is Margi Patel. I asked her to fast, last week, and she has been fasting now. She has started fasting for 18 hours, and she's saying, "Hi Tim, since 4 days I've started 18 hours of intermittent fasting. I analyze some of the changes at physical and mental level in my life, like my work productivity is increasing. I feel very energetic, and also I'm able to do 1 hour exercise with more energy. My mind is totally recovered and thought process has completely changed. I slept very well. Thank you so much." So understand that a person who just started fasting 18 hours of fast, immediately seeing these benefits, she is having more energy, she's having, her mind has recovered. She was literally, going through some issues with her thinking and all of that. That brain fog has cleared, she has more energy, and she's also able to exercise better. So when she's not eating for 18 hours, where is she getting energy for exercising? It is our own body fat that is getting, converted. So that is what happens when you fast. When you fast, we might think logically, oh my God, when I'm fasting, I'm hungry, I'm dying, I can't live. How will I do anything? But the opposite actually happens in practice, is where you have more energy, more clear thinking, less depression, better moods, everything better. Your productivity will go up. Like for me, like Margie also gets up at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. She works with me. She's one of the team members. She also gets up at 4:30 a.m. in the. She actually, our work begins at 4:30 a.m. in the morning, Indian Standard Time. I get up at between 2:30 to 2:45, 2:50. She gets up around 4 o'clock. Day begins at 4:30 and then ends at around 8:30 in the evening. We are working non-stop, 16 hours, 18 hours a day, with no loss of energy, no loss of energy. So when I started fasting, I started with 16 hours of fast. I basically was skipping breakfast, but then I realized, okay, I can increase and do more because I'm getting so many benefits. So as a result, I started, like fasting more and more. And now I fast 21 hours. So I begin my day around like 2:30, 3 o'clock, whatever, and then 1 hour of meditation, half an hour to 40 minutes of extremely intense exercise. 4:30 day begins, work, goes on till 8:30. Then I go to sleep, and I only eat lunch at 1 o'clock and dinner these days at 4 o'clock. So basically now it is 21 hour of fast and lots and lots of energy. In the past, I was cheating on Sundays. I used to eat whatever, not fast, but did not go well. I was not feeling good, so I have stopped cheating as well. These days, I just have the same regimen as every other day. I don't have cheat days anymore. So what happens is that excess energy, whenever you experience that excess energy from fasting, is basically coming from that layer of fat around your organs in your bodies, that is getting melted and used as your energy sources. That process is where you move from being a glucose burner to a fat burner. You're completely changing the dynamics of the game. The body does not need any more glucose. There is no problem with insulin. There is nothing happening. Once the fat layer goes up, your body starts becoming like a new car. And think about an old car that has all kinds of problems. You clean the machine, everything, clean the junk oil, cleaned in the rust, and it has become like a new car. Okay, you will feel a lot younger. And this is the central and most important thing that you can do for your diabetes reversal. So with that, we move to the next most important question: is it safe? Because a lot of people will tell you diabetes people should not fast because they will have hypoglycemia. Medical professionals, doctors will tell you, most doctors will tell you they should not be fasting because it will cause hypoglycemia, rapid drop in blood sugar levels, and things like that. What is happening is the opposite is true. When you fast, the blood sugar goes down, the insulin goes down and stabilizes. Beyond that, it does not fall. Hypoglycemia only happens if you are taking sulfonylureas, a type of medicine, and insulin. If you are on these two classes of insulin medicines, only then these medicines are pulling your blood sugar down further than normal levels, and you will experience hypoglycemia. If you are not taking sulfonylureas and if you're not taking insulin, then chances of hypoglycemia is really low. So that's why diet, your intermittent fasting, is the most important pillar that you can use for intermittent for reversing your diabetes. Okay, now some people begin with 16 hours, move to 18 hours, 20 hours. Some people fast 24 hours. Like Raj here, routine 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. I plan to do 7-day fast. So fasting is something that becomes like a way of life. You might think it is torture when you begin, but once you have gone through this journey, it is hard to put you back on your normal lifestyle. You want to continue with fasting. I'll give you some examples from our own group. We have a person who lost a lot of weight. His diabetes is completely gone. Medicines have been reversed. Recently, he posted his C-peptide levels have also shot up. So a lot of good things are happening. He's back about 15 years, when he had diabetes in the beginning. But he has lost weight and he wants to gain weight, because people, when they see lean people, they think they are thin, weak, which is because our eyes have got used to seeing obese people and think they are fit. So we think somebody is lean means he's not, he's sick, he does not have enough energy. So his family is pressurizing him to put on weight. So the first advice I told him to stop doing intermittent fasting, and he is not able to stop his intermittent fasting. He basically is continuing with intermittent fasting. We see this over and over again. People who have started a journey of fasting find it so convenient, so good, and good for their health, that they don't want to go back to a time where they want to have food 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times a day. So don't worry if you feel that it is a very restrictive, how will I do? I can't live without food, without eating every few hours. These are all in our head. Just begin. It takes literally 2 to 3 days for you to discover the benefit of intermittent fasting. And after that, you will not go back to the old lifestyle. I can guarantee you that. And yet to, and I talk to thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and Raj also does the same. We are yet to hear about people who have started fasting and have been fasting for months now and want to go back to eating multiple times a day. That does not happen. The only time that happens is if it is a family where they have to cook and things like that, and there is food smells and they have to taste the food, and little bit somebody is forcing them in their home, eat food, eat breakfast and things like that. That's the only time where people kind of like lose their habit of fasting. But other than that, there are almost everyone who fasts, just fasts. And is it safe or not? If we look at our own cultures like Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Christianity, Mohammedans, all of them, if you notice, all of them have fasting as a core central practice. If there were a problem of diabetes, people not unsafe and all, then these religions would not have pushed fasting. Jains fast 21 days, just hot water. 21 days they are drinking just hot water, nothing. Are Jains dropping dead like flies because they are fasting and they have diabetes? No. Ask any Jain after a 21-day, they call it pradyusha. You can ask them how they feel after fasting 21 days, and everybody will tell you, my medicines have stopped. I don't need to take anything. Everything has gone off. I feel so much better. Okay, so it's a extremely healthy lifestyle, and it has been given to us not now. It is like have been around for thousands and thousands of years. It is completely safe. The only thing is the first few days, just watch if you are having hypoglycemia. If you are having hypoglycemia, let us know in the group. Chances are you are either, if you are an insulin person, if you're taking insulin, yes, you might have hypoglycemia. So you might have to reduce the dose of insulin. There, fasting is not the culprit, your insulin is the culprit, and you rather get rid of insulin than fasting, because insulin is it only makes you more insulin resistant, taking more insulin. The other thing is insulin also, is expensive. It is a cost. A lot of us who are not earning, our families, our children, we are dependent on them. They are bearing the cost of insulin. It is a unnecessary financial burden as well. Plus, insulin has a lot of side effects. One of the biggest side effects of insulin is weight gain. That weight gain causes a lot of heart issues and things like that, especially if you gain weight. Your hips, your knees, your thighs, your bones, a lot of problems happen. So it is not a good idea to take insulin for long. So intermittent fasting basically solves a lot of problems with just one simple thing that you do not have to do, which is not eat. So it is one of those things where you don't have to do anything, just don't eat and you are good. Okay, very important practices for intermittent fasting is you should drink enough water, because your body will be releasing a lot of toxins in the beginning. We have a lot of toxins in our body which will get released. So the kidneys need water to flush it. So at least 3 liters of water you should be drinking in the initial, whenever you're fasting, in your fasting window. So when you get up in the morning till you break your fast, 3 liters of water, not including the night before. Okay, so 3 liters of water fasting is very important. Second is, some people complain like there's a little dizziness the first 1 or 2 days. That almost always happens because of loss of electrolytes. Sodium, potassium, magnesium is getting depleted because you're drinking water. The toxins are getting released. So are the essential electrolytes. Please have 1 spoon of salt. Don't worry about hypertension. 1 spoon of salt with water fasting in the morning, you will be good. Okay, so that's the second thing that you need to do. Other than that, there isn't really much to do. If you are exercising, exercise when you are in the fasted state. When you are fasting, exercise during that time, you will get a lot more energy. Okay, so apart from this, there isn't really much to do. We have a complete guide for intermittent fasting for diabetes. We periodically send it out in the group. If you have not seen it, let me know. I will forward it again in the group after this class. Please go through it. It talks about everything that is needed for safe fasting. It also has a log. That log talks about in the log you can go and mention your blood sugar levels at different times of the day. You don't have to do it every day so many times, but in the beginning it's a good idea to test your blood sugar every few hours, just to know how quickly your blood sugar is dropping, and accordingly adjust your dietary patterns. So it and also talks about which medications can cause hypoglycemia, and it's almost always sulfonylureas other than the insulin. So it talks about that. It's something you can take to your doctor and tell them that I do fasting, and here are some of the medications, can you make a change? Good thing that is happening now is a lot of doctors have started accepting intermittent fasting as a safe practice. So you guys can talk to your doctors freely about it and tell them, I'm doing this to prevent hypoglycemia, can you adjust my medicines? The guide talks about sulfonylureas can cause hypoglycemia. The doctors also know about it. They will go and change the sulfonylureas to a gliptin or some other form of medications, and you will be good. Okay, intermittent fasting, some people skip breakfast, and some people actually have early dinners. Personally, I have experimented with both formats, and I found a combination of both to be good, which is what I do is I actually have my dinner around 4 o'clock to max 5 o'clock these days, before sunset. I have it, and then I don't eat until the breakfast next day, and I straight away have lunch. But if you are trying to do 16 hours in the beginning, just if you can eat before sunset and have breakfast the next day with a 16-hour gap in between, you will notice a lot of good things happening, because it is intermittent fasting, but as per your circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm is our own body clock, which is basically which has been set by thousands and thousands and thousands of years of evolution, which is go to sleep early, eat early, go to sleep early, get up early. That is our natural body clock. And that natural body clock is what we disrespect. We sleep late, we get up late, we eat all the time, and as a result, it causes all these health issues. Insomnia is a problem, diabetes is a problem, hypertension is a problem, heart disease is a problem, thyroid is a problem. All of these hormonal issues, which are grouped together and called as metabolic syndrome, all of that can be controlled just by taking care of one thing, which is living as per your circadian rhythm. So try not to eat after sunset. You will not be hungry before you go to sleep, I can guarantee you that. Eat full, eat enough, then let it be. Don't eat carbs, don't eat things processed carbohydrates, because it will spike your blood sugar. Eat healthy things, like if you are eating like fruits, you can eat fruits, or you can eat vegetables, or you're eating, if you're following low fat vegan diets, then you can eat sprouts. Eat healthy things and just let it be. Your day is ending, you don't need that kind of energy, you don't need to eat a lot. Don't have a heavy dinner. Okay, eat a light dinner, and then next day morning, whenever you want, you can have your breakfast. Give at least a 16 hours gap. That is called eating as per circadian rhythm. This is circadian rhythm. Intermittent fasting is a very, very powerful way to basically reverse all the problems that you are having, related to, metabolic disorders. A lot of these can be solved by just doing this one thing. Okay. So any questions so far? Because with intermittent fasting, one question that I always get is, when can I eat, when not? Can you tell me a little more? So I'm assuming it's a doubt area. So if there are any questions, would be more than happy to take. And Raj, if you want to add something.
Yeah, people have that doubt, like how to start. So I just tell them that, in the beginning, don't jump for 16 hours, but like take your dinner 1 hour earlier than what you used to do, and postpone your breakfast by 1 hour every day or every week. So slowly you can transition into it rather than like if you can't jump, say 16-hour looks overwhelming. So don't do that. Like, each week you add 2 hours to it and you are good to go.
Yeah. Anand, you have a question?
Yes, MG.
Yeah.
Intermittent fasting and exercise. How intense you do?
I'll tell you my type of exercise, and Raj can tell his. What happens with intermittent fasting is your testosterone levels and your human growth hormone, your HGH hormones, go up. So if you know, in the bodybuilding world, people consume a lot of steroids, to build muscles. Your HGH, your human growth hormone, is your natural steroids. So what I do is I go and do heavy lifting. Like I'm doing heavy squats, I'm doing heavy, your deadlifts and bench presses. My apartment gym, I do that. I also do a lot of body weight exercises. Now it depends. I don't recommend older people, when I say older and beyond 50s, to do so heavy, because it also creates a lot of stress on the joints, and you can have joint problems going ahead. But strength wise, there is no limit. You will actually automatically find a lot of extra strength in your body when you fast. Okay, so
Okay.
if you do push-ups, your push-ups will double. If you do pranayam, your pranayam, if you do surya namaskar, your surya namaskar will, you will get way more energy. That's what Margi wrote. Everybody writes that a lot more energy gets released during the fasting, because what is happening is, when you're lifting weights, you're not deriving from your blood glucose, you're actually deriving from your fat reserves, and the body has a lot of fat reserves. So you're burning fat, you're gaining muscle and things like that, the thermogenesis effect. And even after you have stopped working out, the thermogenesis effect continues through the rest of the day, and you're still in a burning fat mode. So actually, to people who have ketosis and people who do a lot of intermittent fasting, they get a lot of benefit by when they basically are lifting heavy weights. But like I said, heavy weights may not be for everyone. Raj has a different workout schedule. Raj, if you want to elaborate.
Yeah, I actually I do a mix of like heavy weights and cardio. So I normally start with the high intensity cardio, like which is like I just sprint for like 5 minutes, then take 2 minutes break, sprint for 5 minutes. This I do for about half an hour, 45 minutes. This is very intense. Like you sprint for 5 minutes and then you take a 2 minutes break and then sprint for 5 minutes, take a 2 minutes break. So this alternate between um, sprint and the walk I do for like 45 minutes, and after that I spend another 45 minutes for the heavy workout, like the weightlifting and all those things. And I
Yeah.
like the beginning could be tough
Okay.
because it's a psychological barrier to break it. You know, you're always thinking that I don't have the energy, I've not eaten for a long period of time, I won't be able to do it. That's your psychological barrier. But once you break that barrier, you will find that you can just go because what I have done is like every morning, even like when I'm fasting for 48 hours or 68 or 60 hours, I do that every morning,
Okay.
irrespective like what stage of I'm fasting in. It's not only at after 16 hours or like 36 hours. I do it like constant, irrespective of like at what stage of fasting I am. It doesn't make a big difference. In fact, like if I am doing an exercise after 36 hours, I feel more energetic than what I feel after like 16 hours or 18 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
And
Thank
the psychological barrier The psychological barrier is, that's why I said, I mentioned about human growth hormone. Understand that that is a time where you have a lot of excess human growth hormone, HGH, in your body, and you can put it to good use. Otherwise, it is going to be wasted. Think about, suddenly you have been given 1 lakh rupees in your account that will disappear in the next 5 hours, and you can invest that 1 lakh rupees. Otherwise, it is going to be a waste. That 1 lakh rupees will come every day, during your fast. So it is good. It's a good time to make use of it. Don't waste it. Like when I get up in the morning, like when I get up 2:30, 2:40 a.m. or something, the first thing that is like, this is Brahma Muhurt. This is also called the golden hour. It is scientifically proven that whatever you do during that, you will be very effective. So I don't want to waste even a minute. So either I'm talking to the customers, or I'm talking to, you folks in the group, and then immediately my day begins. I will exercise, I will do meditation, and I will start my day working at 4:30 a.m. because I know every little moment, every single second at that time is super duper precious, and it is, whatever you do there will take you to make you very successful. In Hinduism, we have something, in our Vedas, we have something called as Brahma Muhurta. In other cultures, they call it a golden hour. Okay, same thing with this exercise as well. That time when you have your human growth hormone, your testosterone is high, you want to make use of it, because even with whatever exercise you can do, you will be able to have much greater benefits. So why not take benefit of it? If somebody is giving you 1 lakh rupees and saying you have to spend it in an hour and otherwise it will be gone, you would want to invest that money or do something with that money, right? So every day the God will gift you human growth hormone. You can and after this session I will share all the links about how human growth hormone goes up during that time. If you make use of it, especially men, like males, we use this human growth hormone to become stronger, lot stronger. You can build muscle, all your strength will go away, or all your strength will come back, all your back problems will go away, your muscles will be start showing, your sexual performance will go up, all the things will go up if you work out at that time, because you're using the power of testosterone. Understand that people take steroids to increase their testosterone, which cost 25 to 30,000 rupees per month. People take all kinds of pills to enhance their performance. None of that is needed. You just exercise and you get all the benefits. So do as much. Don't go too heavy if you are like above 50, because it might put stress on your on your bone structure, on your joints. But exercise, that is the time to exercise. Don't just go for a light walk at that time. Do Surya Namaskar. It's a complete body exercise. If you can't do push-ups, do Surya Namaskar, or do something else where you are even if nothing, just climb stairs. If nothing, also just climb stairs. That also gives a very strong workout to the legs if you're climbing stairs. What happens is all our pituitary and all our basically hormonal things are in our lower belly area. It stimulates that, so the HGH is increasing, testosterone is increasing, and you'll get a lot of benefit. Your complete muscle structure will change if you work out during fasting. I can guarantee you that. Or just buy some dumbbells from the internet, Flipkart, Amazon, wherever, and just work out. You will be a different person in 1 month. I can guarantee you, different person in 1 month. Okay, so exercise is a super useful thing to do during your fasting window. I actually initially used to do exercise right before breaking my fast, because then the HGH is peaking. So what was happening is I was eating 5 o'clock and I was breaking my fast at 1 o'clock. So around 12 o'clock I used to go to the gym. Now unfortunately the gym is closed, so I don't get to do heavy weight lifts. So what I do is I do workout at home, but I do it early in the morning. So I'm not getting full benefit of the excess HGH, because the HGH will actually be much more right before you break the fast rather than 4 in the morning. But if you can do it at 12 o'clock, great. If not, do it early in the morning. It will make you a completely different person. Okay. The other yeah, questions? Okay, so somebody, Parvati is saying, for me, I can eat at 8 and 19-hour fast is what I do. That is amazing. And Parvati has seen some really good gains from fasting and things like that. So kudos to her. And it's not hard actually. Parvati, question to you: when you started, what were some of the challenges that you saw with fasting?
I'm actually okay with that because I usually do 14-hour fasting before starting the intermittent fasting. So to increase 2 hours was not a big challenge for me.
Yeah.
Only challenge is like to eat early at early dinner was a challenge. So that I
Yes.
managed to at least by 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
after coming from work, it is actually difficult for me to have an early dinner. That is the only
Yes.
challenge for me.
Yes. Yes. And honestly, with all this lockdown and people staying at home, it is much easier now to practice these things because there is no commute, nothing. You can eat early. And see, I eat different from, like, in our home. I am right now I'm doing low-fat vegan diet. I just transitioned a couple of weeks ago. So for me, dinner is very simple. A big bowl of sprouts is what I eat with, lots of your onion in it, green chilies in it. Sometimes I even put like raw mangoes in it, or slightly ripe, half ripe mangoes in it. Tastes amazing. That's a big bowl that I eat. And now we have ripe mangoes, amazing mangoes. I'll eat a bowl of mangoes. That's my dinner, and that's enough. The amount of calories that is there in a big bowl of sprouts is more than what you can get from your processed carbs like your roti, chapati, rice, and things like that. Way more energy, because understand, this is bodybuilding food. So you can eat clean and you have way more calories, clean calories, than eating the processed carbs. So yeah, 19-hour fast, kudos to you. Yeah, most of you, like a question, Neil asked how long to do intermittent fasting. Raj has already answered minimum 16 hours, but if you mean to ask how long, as in how many months do you have to do, I can guarantee you do it for 2 weeks. Don't even think of more than 2 weeks. Just do it for 2 weeks. Just do it for 1 week, and then after that you will not want to go back to your old life. It will permanently change you. You will want to stick to fasting, but it is hassle free. You don't have to do anything. The energy you will experience, you will not want to go back to fasting, to the
That is
regular
very
eating.
true. That is 100% true. That's what I feel. Now I don't want to eat my breakfast. I want to eat at 3 in the afternoon only. Have my
Yes.
lunch by that time.
Yes, exactly. And this transition does not take time, but logically explaining this to people is very hard. The moment people hear fasting, they like run away here, and they're like, oh my God, how can I not eat for so many hours? But fact is completely opposite. The fact is people fast and they are able to they don't want to go back to their old lives. Hey, Raj Kumar Chaurasia, sorry, if you are having trouble joining the bridge, but we are discussing about how fasting is very important for diabetes reversal. And you also have started fasting recently, about, I think, less than about a month now. So could you please also share your experience? Raj, are you able to hear us? Yeah, he doesn't have this microphone, this one. Maybe he's just only viewing us. Okay, that's unfortunate. So yeah, I mean, so fasting, exercise, duration, all of these. The other thing is how to break your fast. Different people have different ways of breaking fast. I break my fast usually with a bowl of salad in the morning. In the afternoon, like, I have lunch at 1 o'clock. I post sometimes pictures. Now I'm doing low-fat vegan, so I'm eating the cucumber and carrots. That's how I break my fast, and then I have my regular meal, whatever I'm having. Some people prefer eggs. If you're on low-fat, low-carb, high-fat diet, you can have eggs, boiled vegetables. Anything light. Don't have a heavy. Just don't begin with a huge um, huge bowl of rice right after breaking the fast. It will spike your blood sugars really bad, so don't do that. So yeah, fruits are also a good way to break fast. So any of those is fine. Meir is asking how many months. So Meir, like I said, don't think of months, just think about, let me do it for 1 week and see the benefits, and then you yourself will want to continue it for months and years. I can tell you that. I have been fasting also for many years now. But so my point is, you yourself will answer this. When I ask you this question 2 months later, Meir, you started fasting, are you still fasting? You will say, yeah, I've been fasting and I'll continue for the rest of my life. I'm not going back to the older style. So it is not something anybody can answer you. It will come from within you, and the chances is like it will be for lifelong. There is nothing to be gained by eating 3-4 times a day. You will have way more energy. your all your diabetes and all of those things will get better. So you don't want to eat so many times a day. Your cravings will go away. Then eating will feel like a chore, like, why do I want to eat? There is no, like Parvati said, there is no interest also in left in eating breakfast. You will straight away have lunch and then eat. That's it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, go ahead, Raj.
yeah, I think he's not able to. I don't
Okay,
see
yeah.
his. Yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
actually, we usually joke about it on the group chats, and I usually
Hmm.
say that कि फास्टिंग से डर नहीं लगता है, खाने से डर लगता है आजकल.
Yeah, everybody is like has a different experience, but see, for me, I have a when I'm eating, I'm like eating. I am not restrictive about anything. I'm following a low-fat vegan diet and I'm enjoying low-fat vegan diet. Honestly speaking, the variety of mangoes that is out there is astounding, and I get to sample and eat a lot of different mangoes. I'm very happy with low-fat vegan. I just transitioned from low-carb, high-fat. When I was in a low-fat, low-carb, high-fat, I was enjoying low-carb, high-fat foods. There are so many interesting things to eat there, and also I don't have, like, when I'm eating, but then the window will shut at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, depending on when I stop eating. And then after that, there is no interest in eating. People can have a big meal in front of me, and it will not move me even by a inch. Like the willpower goes up. Willpower becomes very strong. Same thing. Mornings I will not eat. So what happened, I remember, like, when I was in Mumbai, one of my friends, she challenged me. She said, I'm going to take you to Khao Gali. I was fasting 36 hours and it was a Sunday. Nobody comes to work on Sunday. I was there in office. She came and she was like, I'll take you to Mumbai Khao Gali and let's see how you can resist. I'm like, fine, let's do Khao Gali. So she took me to 2 Khao Galis, not one. And we went there and she walked me through a lot of parathas and whatnot, all the yummy food. I'm like, yeah, this is food, but that attachment to food is no longer there. Like, but when I started eating, I can eat it. It is okay. But when I'm fasting, there is no attachment or craving for food at all. So that is what happens when the window is closed. The window is closed. The window is open. Eat, but don't overeat. The other benefit of fasting is automatically your food choices will become very healthy. Few days ago, my wife, she was craving Maggie, so she fasts 18 to 19 hours. So she had Maggie and she made a big deal about it because no Maggie at home, I had to order it and blah blah blah. So we made Maggie and she ate and she didn't like it. She's like, that whole Maggie craving is now gone, and she didn't feel good for the whole day. She has been fasting for quite some time. So unhealthy food, junk food, automatically you will start filtering out and you will not eat it. Okay. Yeah, Rajkumar Chaurasia, he's asking, if I go to hometown or anywhere unknown, how to maintain. Raj, are you able to hear us, or do you want me to type these answers? Because I don't see you have a phone icon like in your chat. Are you able to hear us? Can you please say yes or no? Raj, are you able to hear us? Okay, I think he's not able to hear us. So what we will do is we will take I will answer the question directly in the group. It can help a lot of other people. So yeah, so there are many benefits of fasting. Don't fear fasting. Just the first few days, observe that if you are able to, your blood sugar levels, they will stabilize. They will not go very low. If it goes low, eat something, but don't fear fasting. Just begin. So with that, so this is the most central pillar by which you can reverse your diabetes, and I hope you guys have understood the process. Now what we will do is we will discuss a little bit about our diets that we follow, and we will create our own diet charts right here in the session. So there are two diets that we have in our that we follow here. One is called as low carb high fat diet, and another one is low fat vegan diet. So let me open the first one, low carb high fat diet. So low carb high fat diet means you basically will be eating foods that has less carbohydrates in it. Okay, so processed carbohydrates like white rice, even brown rice, maida, suji, your roti, chapati, all of that is high carb items. You will eat less of those. What you can eat more and sufficiently is vegetables. Okay, you can eat as much amount of vegetables you want to eat. The only restrictions is if it grows under the ground, like if it is like a beet or a carrot or a parsnip or celery or radish, potatoes, sweet potatoes, these are not allowed. So anytime you see a vegetable, just think whether it grows above the ground or below the ground. If it is below the ground, don't eat it. Other than that, you should be eating a lot of vegetables. Honestly speaking, roti and vegetables and just vegetables, after a few days, you will like just the eaten vegetables. You will not like the rotis that much. So you'll get used to it very quickly. Okay, so you can eat as much amount of vegetables as you want. Squash, pumpkin, although they grow above the ground, are restricted. But other than that, everything under the ground is restricted. Okay. Meat, fish, you can eat as much, but there is no restrictions. But you will have to keep your protein under 20% of your total diet, which means that don't go overboard. Once a day, one bowl of chicken, fish, mutton, whatever you're eating is fine. Don't have too much amount of protein, because the excess protein will actually start converting into blood glucose via process called gluconeogenesis. We don't want that. In absence of carbohydrates, the protein starts acting like like carbohydrates. So we don't want that. So don't eat more than one serving, one bowl for lunch or one bowl for dinner, and you are good. Okay. Dairy, there is no restrictions except milk and anything that has sugar in it. So anything like curd, your yogurt, your paneer, all of these you can eat. Butter, ghee, all of these things you can eat. Only issue with that is a lot of dairy in India is contaminated. Not just India, all over the world, dairy has a lot of contamination issues in it that increases the C-reactive protein, the systemic inflammation in the body. That also causes the lungs, the organs to not function well. So hence, try to restrict dairy, but if you have to eat it, that is okay. And if when you're eating it, you can eat as much as you want. Like when I started, when the lockdown happened, milk was the only thing that we are having regular supply. So I started making my homemade paneer and homemade curd, and I was having it, no issues. Okay. But this chart, all of you would have got it so far. It has been shared multiple times in the group. If you guys want, I can share it again. It explains everything. Okay. Next is nuts and seeds are all okay. In fact, you should eat as many nuts and seeds as possible. But again, nuts and seeds are high in calories, so you might want to watch that. But if you're doing intermittent fasting, you almost never will have to worry about going excess calories, because the fasting alone causes some sort of calorie deficit. Groundnuts, peanuts are not nuts. They are legumes. They are dal. Peanuts are actually dal, not fats, not nuts. So you don't have them too much. But other than that, almonds, pistachios, Brazil nuts, walnuts, pine nuts, hazelnuts, macadamia, and nuts, all these pecans, all these are fine. Eat as much as you want. Seeds, hemp seeds, sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, chia seeds, and flax seeds are really good for the body. They're full of omega. They're full of omega-3s. Flax seeds are cheap. Like you can get like 100 gram for 20 rupees or something like that. They are cheap. Just need 1 spoon. So one packet of 20 rupees can last you more than a month almost, or maybe a little less than a month. So you can have flax seeds. They are really, really good for your health. What is completely restricted is all grains like rice. Rice is not allowed. Wheat, different types of millets like jowar, bajra, ragi, corn, all kinds of dal like tur dal, masoor dal, moong dal, all kinds of dal. All these are completely restricted in a low carb, high fat diet. All fruits, except for blueberry and blackberry, which is not easily available in India, and a little bit of strawberries. All fruits are restricted on a low carb, high fat diet. All cooking oils are restricted. Cooking oils are restricted across all kinds of all kinds of diets that we follow, both kinds of diets that we follow. Soybean oil, corn oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, rapeseed oil, peanut oil, any kind of cooking oil is completely restricted. In a low carb, high fat diet, you will have to cook in butter or ghee, or just use water or tomato sauce for all your tomato ketchup, or sorry, your tomato puree for all your cooking, or just raw tomatoes. Okay, raw tomatoes are the best. I can guarantee you, I have made mutton, I have made chicken, I have made ragda, which is ghugni. I have made all kinds of dishes with no oil, and there is zero difference in taste. In fact, when I cook without oil, it tastes more, because I have to roast the spices a little bit, and with that smell, almost everyone in the home, like my wife, my mother, my father, everybody's like, what are you making? What are you making? It's like, just I'm roasting jeera, but the smell of jeera roast makes it, takes things to a completely different level of taste. So please, try to cook without oils. And if you have to, use ghee and butter. This is specifically for low carb, high fat diet followers. All kinds of sugar, good, jaggery, glucose, fructose, high fructose corn syrup, cane sugar, aspartame, cane solids, all your sugar-free products, every single sugar-free product has lots and lots of different kinds of sugar in it. It says sugar-free, but what it means is it's glucose-free, but it has the other kinds of sugars in it. Do not consume them. You have to literally stop all kinds of sweet products, maltose, dextrose, sorbitol. The whole list is there. You can take a look at it, and decide. But no sugar, no sweetness. But honestly, you will not crave that much amount of sweetness. Okay, so this is what a low carb, high fat diet is. Any questions on this diet? And I will tell you what a low carb, high fat diet, sometimes people think it is like low carb, high protein diet. So they eat a lot of protein and reduce the carbs. That is not good. Like I discussed, excess protein will have either increase your blood sugar level, or it can also cause kidney disease, gout, and things like that. So it is actually a low fat, low carb, high fat diet. And by fat, I don't mean fried food here. I mean healthy fats like nuts, seeds, dairy, eggs. Eat your eggs whole, things like that. Okay. All right. Now we will take a look at the other kind of diet that we follow, which is the low-fat vegan diet. So this is a low-fat vegan diet. In a low-fat vegan diet, you can eat all vegetables. In fact, all the restricted vegetables on low-carb, high-fat diet, which is your like potatoes and sweet potatoes and all the starchy vegetables like carrots and beets, are encouraged to be eaten here. So you will eat all vegetables as much as you can. Like when we grow up, our parents tell us, eat more vegetables, eat more vegetables. This is the time actually we can listen to our parents. If we had not when we were kids, eat a lot of vegetables. Eat a lot of vegetables. Okay, so vegetables are one of your pillars in a low-fat vegan diet. Vegan means no animal products. Even dairy is an animal product, so you can't even consume any sort of dairy products, like no butter, no ghee, no milk, no paneer, no curd, none of that. Okay, all fruits are okay. Okay, all fruits are okay. In the beginning, try to restrict it to once a day, because the sugar will spike, but beyond that you can measure it for yourself and see. But then have mostly like mangoes, whatever you like eating, melons, all kinds of fruits, have it. There is no restriction at all, other than in the beginning try to restrict it for once a day, because otherwise the blood sugar will spike and you might fear the blood sugar is spiking, something will happen. What happens is those blood sugars will stabilize very quickly. You do it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a low-fat vegan diet, the blood sugars come down to normals. Even after you're eating mangoes, you will be surprised at how is this even possible? How can I eat so much fruits and still my blood sugar did not spike? That is the beauty of low fat vegan diets. We had people in our group with low-fat vegan diets who have eaten samosas also, which we don't recommend, but they have eaten samosas and the blood sugar has not spiked at all because there was no oil in it. Okay, he had eaten so much amount of fruits, no spikes at all. So fruits are again a central pillar. So fruits and vegetables, eat as much and try to eat them raw. Vegetables, try to eat them as much raw as possible. Whole grains are okay. Whole grains means you can eat your bajra, you can eat your amaranth, you can eat your buckwheat, finger millet, nachni, all the different kinds of millets, ragi, jowar. You can eat whole grains. Okay, you can eat that. They have a lot of fiber. They will not cause your blood sugar to spike. In the beginning, they might for the first few weeks, but after that, it will stabilize. But you are not allowed to eat any of those processed carbohydrates, grains, which is basically your maida, your atta, your suji, your poha, your cornflakes, corn flour, bread, pasta, white rice. None of that is allowed. Okay, none of that is allowed. Okay, just we'll take a quick pause. Mir is asking, I have undergone bypass heart surgery. Will high fat give any problem? No, there has been enough evidence to show low carb, high fat diet has reversed heart disease. You might want to restrict dairy and ghee and butter, but have your nuts, you are fine. Have your eggs full, you are fine. Okay? Don't worry. Dietary fat does not cause arterial problems, like does not cause fat in the body. Dietary fat is not fried food here. We are not talking of trans fats here. These are the healthy fats. They will not cause any heart problems. Okay. So the next is all fruits are okay. The third thing in low-fat vegan diet is dal and pulses are consumed in moderation. Have one katora or one bowl of, your sprouts. That is perfectly fine. Some people like to boil their dal and eat it, which is how we take dal. But the problem with that is it can spike blood sugar. So we ask people to sprout and eat it wherever possible. But if you can't, having a little bit of dal is okay. Just measure your blood sugar after 1 hour, not 2 hours, after 1 hour, and see whether there is a spike. If you notice spike, then dal is not for you, because everybody is different. The way we process the same food is different. So two people can have the exact same diabetic profile, which means same gender, same HbA1c, same history with diabetes, same kind of fasting, same kind of patterns in postprandial blood sugar levels, same kind of patterns in your all the other parameters, same weight. Eating the same food causes different spikes in different people. That almost always happens because of gut microbiota, and there are a lot of other explanations because of it, also to a degree of insulin resistance and things like that. But my point is everybody is different, so you will have to do a little bit of testing in the beginning to see what suits you and you have to do a little bit of testing in the beginning to find what does not. That takes about a week and a half to a month. But beyond that, you will know your body so well that you will know what in eating sugar and not. And we do not have. If you guys are fasting, especially restrictions to your food was. The fourth is seeds, nuts and seeds. Again, in moderation. The moderation is mostly because they are they have more calories in them, and we don't want to have more. We don't want to gain weight, but if you're again fasting, you don't have to worry about it. Eat your nuts and seeds in moderation in a low-fat vegan diet. Okay. What are the completely restricted items in a low-fat vegan diet? All dairy products are completely restricted because they are not vegan, and they have fat in them. All seafood items, all meat items, all cooking oils are restricted. You will have to basically cook with no oil. And honestly speaking, like I said, it is very easy and it is much better, tastes much better. Of course, no sugar, added sugars are allowed, like jaggery, glucose, fructose, high fructose, any of that is not allowed. And this is common from low fat, low carb, high fat diet. So any questions on low fat vegan?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, Sanjay.
Suppose if we don't take even a single drop of oil, then nothing will happen to our body.
No, you will
Hello.
not. Yeah. So we are talking of basically oil is needed
Yeah.
for our joints and things like that. See, fat is fat. You can get that kind of fat from your healthy fats, not cooking oil. So basically, you can get it from your nuts and seeds. They have oil in it. Understand, when you are eating a spoon of flax seeds, the flax seed, there is oil also in it, right? That is also going to the body, but going in a natural form, not a refined form. If you go and do the mathematical calculations on this, say Ruchi soya or the standard like your sunlight or your sunflower oil, all the products that they sell, you will notice, if you do the mathematics, you will notice that the cost of production of oil, if they were using real products, would be higher than the cost that they are selling it for. So they use a lot of adulteration. Your seed oils are the most adulterated things in the world today. If it is coconut oil you are using, it does not have much coconut oil in it. There's a lot of trans fats and low quality oil that is being mixed with it. If you're talking about sunflower oil, sunflower oil is a whole lot of oils mixed with it. Okay, so it is so highly what you're eating. When you're eating your nuts have oils in it. When you're eating an avocado has oil in it. You're eating sunflower seeds, you're getting everything in the full form. That is going through your bones, so you're getting enough fat from there as well.
Okay. Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
From last 13 days, I am just taking 3 things, that is sprouts, salad, and fruits. So,
Awesome.
shall I take nuts? Shall I take some nuts and all?
You are in a low-fat vegan diet, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you can take nuts in moderation. Like we have mentioned here, maybe 3-4 nuts are fine. You can take that. You can take 2 teaspoons of chia seeds. It's mentioned here, like say nuts, almonds, cashews, pistachios, Brazil nuts. All of these you can take 3 or only. Seeds you can take 2 teaspoon of seeds are okay. It is fine. It is like that is okay. You can start taking them.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Anand is asking how often can you change from LCHF to LVP? Whenever you start a diet, Anand, it is a good idea to stick to it for at least 3 months. After 3 months, your diabetes is more or less has have seen very good results, and now maybe then you can switch, but don't switch in between. And another thing is never mix and match. Like don't take some things from here because this sheet says you can eat this, and this sheet says you can eat this, and come back and try to make your own kind of diet. No, what is forbidden on one diet is allowed in another. So you cannot mix and match. One is poison in one kind of diet and it works in another kind of diet. What most of the people get confused is how can you say fat is allowed in low carb high fat diet but it is deadly in a low carb low fat vegan diet. The thing is, by itself the fat is not dangerous, but the fat and carb combination that you will have will make your blood sugar spike very much. So either you'll have to go low carb or you will have to go low fat. Hence these diets are completely mutually exclusive of each other. Think of it as like 2 different trains that go to the same destination of diabetes reversal. You get on a train, you have to follow the journey of the train to reach the destination. In midway, you will not have the other train that you can jump into. Okay, so you have to stick to a diet for 3 months. You cannot switch in between. And please don't mix and match. That is the most dangerous thing that you can do. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Hello. I want to ask, like, why can't we take plant-based milk? Like you're saying, dairy is avoided, right? So, like, what if I sprinkle a little of coconut, with the vegetables? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Because we're using a lot of coconut in our diet. Is coconut allowed in low-fat vegan?
Yes. See, if you see under fruits all okay. We have mentioned specifically coconuts up to 1/8 of a medium size is okay. 1/8 of a medium size is a lot for your sprinkling, so no problem at all. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Okay, so we will have another session to discuss on things around how to lower fasting blood glucose and things like that. But for this session, we will come to an end, and basically now I have presented whatever I had. If there are no questions, we will create our own diet charts right now. So what we will do is we will go menu by menu, like meal by meal, and discuss what all things you like to eat, and we will put it. So please take out a pen and paper and start writing. The first thing we will do is we will talk about what we need to eat for lunch in a low carb, high fat diet and a low fat vegan diet. Okay, we will go one by one, because if we talk about both, it will get super confusing. So a low carb, high fat diet, who all are following low carb, high fat diet here and want a diet chart for that? And I'll give you a general guideline. If you're non-vegetarian, go for a low fat, low carb, high fat diet. If you're vegetarian, go for a low fat vegan diet, because your chances of being able to sustain this diet long term goes up significantly. So anybody who is non-vegetarian, please follow a low carb, high fat diet. Just yesterday, somebody I was speaking to, she has been on our doing these things for almost 6 months now. She had shifted from low carb, high fat to low fat vegan, could not sustain. Now she's back in low carb, high fat diet. So she's non-vegetarian. So please, non-vegetarian people, we would highly recommend following a low carb, high fat diet. So who all want to have a diet chart in low carb, high fat diet? Okay, so it seems like everybody wants to follow the low fat vegan diet. So if we follow the low fat vegan diet, I know Rajkumar Chaurasia, he's following low carb high fat, but unfortunately neither I am able to hear from him and he's not able to hear us. So we will have to wait. I'll do it separately with him. But others, low fat vegan diet. Let's begin. Lunch items. What would you guys like to eat? Your suggestions that you can eat is very simple. Begin with a plate of salad. That is your first plate. Okay, Mir, you are on low carb, high fat. Hold on a sec. Let me finish the low fat vegan and I'll come to you. Okay, so low carb. So we're talking of low fat vegan here. Low fat vegan, for your lunch, please have 1 plate of carrots, cucumber, and cucumber. 1 large plate of carrots and cucumber. I would recommend half a kg of cucumber and half a kg of carrots, cut together. Okay, you can write that down. Along with it, you can have, if you want, sweet potatoes. If you want to eat sweet potatoes, have sweet potatoes with it, boiled sweet potatoes with it. This should be the first thing that you are eating. Okay, once you have finished eating this, after that you can have say, for example, millets. Okay, millet khichdi, whole millets boiled with little amount of dal, boiled with onion in it. You can add your masala, whatever tadka you want to add in it, and whatever you can have, but only after eating 1 kg, half kg of cucumber and half kg of carrots. After that, and 1 big medium size of sweet potato. After you have eaten it, whatever space is left in your stomach, you can have your khichdi along with any vegetables, whatever is there. Okay?
Yeah, one thing I would like to add here is, like, I've seen people don't eat their salads because the way they cut it, it's very difficult to eat. So what I would recommend is finally chop your salad.
Yeah.
Like carrot, make it very fine chopped. Cucumber, make it very fine chopped. Put some, cut some tomatoes, onions, put some chaat masala, green chilies. Make it interesting.
Yeah.
When it is finely chopped, it's very easy to eat. If I say you eat 5 carrots just raw holding it, it's difficult. It's not interesting, it's boring. So make your salad the most interesting part of your lunch.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. Although I eat a whole carrot, but it's not very appealing. I agree to it for a lot of people. So it's good to chop and make it small. Put chaat masala, put onions, make it look beautiful, and eat it. It actually tastes really good. Honestly speaking, eating salads is really, really tasty. I'm eating a lot more salads now that I'm on a low fat vegan diet. That's what I'm eating. The other thing is, apart from your salads and your sweet potatoes, eat to your full. Have a little bit of whatever you want to have, these whole grains. Along with it, have a bowl of your vegetables. The bowl of vegetables that your family is cooking, just ask them to cook with no oil. And I'll tell you, it takes 1 or 2 days just to figure out how to cook with no oil. If you are sorting vegetables, dry roast the masalas like your cumin, your methi, whatever masalas that you put, whole grains, whole masalas you are putting it, dry roast it, then add a little bit of water and your vegetables and you cook it. It will cook exactly, all your curries will cook perfectly fine. If you're adding tomatoes, perfectly fine, you can sort it. Some people use powder masalas. When you're using powder masalas, all you need to do is first fry the tomato in just regular pan, in a non-stick pan, fry the tomato without oil, add the masalas, add water, and add the vegetables and make your curries. You will not notice any difference. I can guarantee you that a lot of times you will find it is more tasty. And when you add your tomatoes and water, add your masalas to it. You can add your Kitchen King masala or your haldi masala, whatever you spices that you put it in a little bit of water, add the vegetables, just cover it and let it cook. Amazing taste. Okay, so vegetables, your salads, first thing you should be eating is your salad. A lot of people eat salad afterwards. Just reverse it. Eat your salad first. Eat your salad as much as you can, and then have whatever space is left, keep it for whatever has been cooked in the home for your vegetables, and a little bit of your ragi you are eating, or your jowar you are eating, or your khichdi, whatever you want to make. This is my meal as well. Okay, so have that. Okay, that is going to be your lunch. If you are going to have an evening snack, what I would suggest is eat one fruit and eat as much as you can. Eat as much as you can. What that means is, if you have to eat bananas, easily a person can eat 4 or 5 bananas, which is half kg. Go ahead and eat it. If you're eating mangoes, 300, 400 grams, whatever mangoes, eat it. Okay, eat one fruit, whichever is your favorite fruit for that, eat it. Don't feel bad about eating mangoes. I will tell you, your mango spikes will happen the first one, maybe 1 week or week and a half. After that, your mango spikes will go down. I've seen it just now. We both, me and my dad, moved from low carb high fat diet to a low fat vegan diet. Dad has diabetes, but his there was no spikes at all. There was no spikes at all. The spikes were like, I think he got 110 or something like that after eating so many mangoes. Okay, which is okay. The postprandial levels have to be below 140. Is 110, which is perfectly fine. So don't fear. Eat your mangoes, eat your guavas, eat your bananas, eat whatever vegetable fruits you want to eat. Eat. Have it. If this is your evening snack, have it as much as you want. Okay. After that, maybe you're eating your snack at 4 o'clock or something like that. After that, if you have to eat your dinner, try to have it around 6 o'clock, before 6 o'clock. If not, whatever vegetable has been cooked in the home, eat it. In place of your chapati and in place of your rice, substitute either the salad you ate in the morning, or you can have a bowl of boiled karelas. Bowl of boiled karelas is something in the beginning, 1 or 2 days you may not like, but after that you will start really liking it. It's a very wholesome food. Okay, you can have that. So whatever sabzi is being cooked at home, along with it, instead of rice and roti, have boiled karelas, or you can have sprouts. You can basically, if you have your dal or whatever is in sprouted form, you can have that as well, but try to have boiled karelas. Have this for 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, and come back and tell us how your blood sugars are. You can start reporting your numbers from the very first day, in the group itself, and we will guide you. If we are seeing any issues, we will guide you. Okay, so so don't worry. In the beginning, you will see spikes with fruits. It's perfectly fine. After a few weeks, the spikes will go down. But don't have processed carbs like white rice and your rotis, chapatis, and things like that in the beginning. I can tell you, maybe after a month or 2 months or something, when your diabetes has come to a remission level, at that point you can introduce, have a little bit here and there. Occasionally you'll be fine, but don't do it in the beginning. Understand you're going through a surgery which is not like invasive. You're not like facing it externally, you're facing it internally. So it is a special diet you are on. Don't worry about how am I going to do this for the next 1 year or 10 years. No, think about how will I do it for the next 1 week. Take it one day at a time. This is your surgical diet. So just focus on right now. Every day you might feel to give up, don't. Just say, okay, one more day, and soon you will come out of it. Almost everybody succeeds on the low-fat vegan diet. You will also come out successfully. Okay, so golden rules: have one plate of raw vegetables, salads. That is your primary plate. A secondary plate will have, your cooked vegetables and your grains, if at all, or boiled karela. That should be your foundation. One plate of raw, followed by one plate of cooked, till whatever limit you can eat. Don't overeat. That is super important. In between, if you are hungry, have fruits as much as you want, and have sprouts. That's it. Okay, this should be a pillar. If you are having breakfast, have fruits. Get up in the morning. If you want to have breakfast, you don't want to do intermittent fasting, have fruits. It is okay. Don't go overboard, but eat till you feel good about it. Eat it. Have your fruits, but don't eat anything else for breakfast. Just eat fruits. And when I say fruits, it is okay, to have one kind of fruit. Don't mix fruit. Don't sit down with a fruit salad saying I'll have bananas and I'll have mangoes and I'll have chikus and I'll have this, that. Don't mix your fruits. Every day just pick one fruit and have that fruit. Next day you can if you're eating bananas, eat bananas. If you're eating fruits like mangoes, eat mangoes. Right now everybody wants to eat mangoes. We will probably have mangoes for the next 1 month, and after that we will never see mangoes for the next 1 year. So have your mangoes now. In fact, one of my big motivations of switching to low-fat vegan diet was mangoes, and I'm happy I made the switch. So yeah, have mangoes. Okay. Any questions so far? Have you guys been able to write down your lunch and your dinner and your snack?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Sanjay.
In dinner from last 13 days, I am just taking 5 to 6 types of fruits. So
okay.
shall I continue it, or I should take only one type of fruit?
Whenever you have one type of fruit. And Raj has more experience with fruits. I'm a little new on fruits. Raj, can you elaborate on the fruits?
Yeah. Hello.
Oh yeah, Raj had to drop off. It's pretty late for him. It is 1 o'clock in the night for him. So yeah, so with fruits, what you can do is stick to one kind of fruit. Don't have multiple types of fruit. Have more of the same. Don't decrease the quantity. Keep the same quantity. The same kind of
fruit. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so all of you were able to write down your diets, right? And your diet chart is all clear. Any questions on the diet chart, please let me know before I move to the low carb, high fat diet.
So when is that we have to have the sprouts? You were saying we can include sprouts, right?
Yeah, so sprouts, if you are having fruits for say breakfast, have sprouts for your snacks. Okay, or
okay.
What you do is basically keep sprouts as in between your snacks kind of thing. Don't make sprouts the main thing. So when you're having your lunch and your dinner, primarily it should be vegetables, raw vegetables, and a little bit of cooked vegetables and a little bit of grains. Don't put sprouts there. Sprouts have only in the in between. So one good easy way to eat these is, if you don't have time to sprout, go and buy black chanas, roasted chickpeas, black ones. Keep that in your home. Eat that for your this one. What we suggest people is not to snack in between different in between meals, but some people want to have it with tea, coffee, and all, so that is fine. With tea, coffee also, don't have low-fat vegan. You're not allowed milk, and obviously sugar is not allowed. So all your tea, coffee has to be really black or green tea or coffee, or even red is okay. But don't put sugar and milk in it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Fine. Now let me switch to low carb, high fat diet. Mir, are you ready with a pen and paper? So Anand has a question on low carb, high fat. I'm coming to that. So Anand, Mir, I believe you both are on low carb, high fat. So let's talk about that. So in a low carb, high fat, your primary sources of nutrition will come from fat. When I say fat, I mean healthy fat. So a typical breakfast for a low carb, high fat is eggs fried in butter. Okay. If you are taking dairy, go ahead and take it. There is no limit on butter, honestly, Anand. Okay. If you are not overweight, it is okay. Have your butter as much as you want. It is perfectly fine. Have your ghee as much as you want. All your cooking should be butter and ghee based, no oils. Okay. So a breakfast for a low carb, high fat diet is typically you can have 4 eggs, 3 or 4 eggs fried in butter or even in water, doesn't matter. You can actually do it in, on a non-stick pan. You don't need at all butter or oil. You can just do it a little bit of water and you can still do it. That or boiled eggs. Along with it, have a salad. You can have, say, carrots and cucumber cut. That's how my dad started when his blood sugar was 300 in 370s level. In one day, the very first day he tried the diet, it came down from 370, 340 to 170, a 170-point drop in just one day in postprandial blood sugar levels. Mom was giving him suji upma, which was not good, which was not good. It was basically raising his blood sugar levels. Now that day, this is exactly almost, this is 2016 we're talking of here, 4 years ago when you started doing this diet. So eggs and carrots, cucumber is an amazing breakfast. Have that. That is your low carb, high fat breakfast. Okay. Lunch, same thing. Where people are having these millets, you will need to have vegetables. So 1 bowl of vegetables. Before that, same thing, 1 plate of vegetables, like raw vegetables, carrots and your cucumber. Eat it as much as you can. Whatever space is left, eat your non-veg food and your sabzi. That's it. You cannot have any lunch in any rice or wheat products with it. Okay, so no rice, no chapati or anything like that. So that is your lunch. Sprouts can be part of your snacks in between, or if you don't want to snack in between, you can have nuts, almonds, or any of the nuts. You can have as much as you want along with your tea for snacks. And dinner is the same replica of your lunch. 1 large plate of carrots, cucumber, eat to your full. That alone should, make you feel like, okay, I have eaten enough. Eat that, and apart from that, you can eat your sabzi, cooked in no oil. It can be cooked in butter or ghee. You can eat your sabzi, and you can eat your, boiled karela. That should be your dinner, okay, and in between your lunch. So these are, and if you want to snack other things, you can eat cheese, you can eat butter, you can eat paneer. In fact, paneer, you should be eating as much as you can. Loads of butter and loads of ghee. Don't worry, your heart disease will not increase, or there won't be any issues. You will actually lose weight on a low carb, high fat diet, which proves that dietary fat does not increase weight. It does not translate into body fat. What translates into body fat is actually the carbohydrates, the simple carbohydrates that we discussed in the very beginning of the class. What causes your insulin resistance is the same thing. Okay, so Mir and Anand, are you clear on what a low carb, high fat diet should be?
Hello, can I add eggs for dinner?
Sure, you can have as many eggs. Don't worry about eggs. In fact, my cholesterol problems all went away after I started having eggs. Lots and lots of eggs. So yeah, you can have eggs for dinner and lunch or breakfast anytime. Eggs are good for breakfast because they are easy to make. You can make a nice, good omelette, 4 eggs or 3 eggs, a big omelette with lots of onions and bell pepper, like green peppers, capsicum, adrak, onion, whatever you want to put in it, mushrooms, and make a nice fat omelette, and if you can add some cheese to it, grated cheese to it, you can add, it tastes so good, and one omelette will keep you full till 12 o'clock. That is if you are not fasting. If you fast, you don't need any of it. You can have it during your lunch or during your snack. No, yolk has to be consumed. There was a discussion in the group, yolks have to be consumed. Yolks are high fat and they are needed. So you have to consume the yolks. There is very little nutrition in whites. All the good part is the yolk. So you have to consume the yolks. Even if you have heart disease, don't worry about consuming yolks. Consuming yolks will not increase your, cholesterol levels. Don't worry about it. You can test it for yourself and see.
What about red meat?
Red meat is fine. The thing is, all of these non-veg items have to be less than 20% of your total calories. Because what happens is, because you guys are part of low carb, there is no carbohydrate in the body. Your pancreas will need to make insulin. So what it does is it will try to convert the protein, the non-carbohydrate source, the protein into blood glucose. So you cannot give it too much protein as well, because if you give too much protein, it will start converting that into into blood sugar. So keep your total restriction less than 20%, which means one bowl of non-veg is okay for lunch. 2 to 3 eggs is okay for breakfast or your dinner. That is fine. Okay, don't have too much protein.
So the day we have egg, we should you say we should not have more protein, or
No. You can have eggs and you can have your chicken. That is fine. You can have 4 eggs and you can also have chicken, one bowl. That is fine. Eggs are not. Yeah, see, because eggs are only 5 grams of protein. So that also bioavailability is not that high. So maybe from 4 eggs, you will get 20 grams of protein, right? And maybe from the chicken, if you're having, say, even 200 grams of chicken, that is another maybe 30 grams. So you're talking of 50 grams of protein. That is not a lot to cause gluconeogenesis.
Okay. What do you suggest? Fish over chicken, or any meat over any meat, or what is your best ABC?
So depends on the fish. See, if it is sea fish, it is very high on omega-3, okay, but also high on mercury. So you have to see where the fish is, what the source is. Farm-raised food is never really good. So actually, mutton is better than chicken, because chicken is farm-raised and it has a lot of hormones in it. Same thing with fish. If you're buying tilapia from the market, it has a lot of toxins in it. So what I would suggest is wild caught fish. Like if you go out in the market and think fish that is not farm raised, fish is better than meat, but otherwise mutton is better than chicken and then fish. Anything that is not farm raised, that is not raised in huge quantities, is better.
What about desi chicken?
Desi chicken is the best, but a lot of desi chicken is actually regular. There's a cross hybrid, so you need to be sure that this is actually desi or not. Because what they do is they take the eggs of desi chicken and then they raise it in a farm. So it's more or less the same thing, although it looks different. But what can you do? From an availability perspective, desi chicken in general is much better than the regular chicken.
But I think in India, all eggs are farm based. We can eat those eggs.
Yeah, you can. If you can get hold of desi eggs and organic eggs, still better. But if you can't get it, then the regular eggs is what we can eat.
You can get it only it's double, triple priced.
Yeah, they are. That is exactly a scam again. A company like Keg. There is a company called Keg. Yeah. They cost 20 rupees per egg. And the thing is, right, the only difference their eggs and regular eggs is they are fresh. Like they pick it and literally sell it quickly. They don't keep it for 2 to 3 days. So it is sold much quickly. They have much better packaging and they are colored. That's it. There is no difference between a Keg and a regular egg. So it's unfortunate. Yeah, it's 20 rupees per egg, whereas a regular egg is only 5 rupees. Yeah.
Right. So you suggest to go for those eggs, or you can have the regular eggs?
Have the regular eggs. Don't pay for those overpriced eggs. In India, you will not get country eggs unless you really you have connections with your maid and your maid can get it from their home chicken. Like I get, country eggs for both chicken and duck. I have posted pictures of the really red yolk. You can tell it's a really good one if it is not farm raised. But if you don't have access to something like that in a city, forget it. Just eat the regular eggs.
So the country egg is basically red yolk.
In a duck egg, it is red, and in a chicken egg, it is more yellow. Definitely more yellow and more sticky compared to the regular eggs. If you crack it, it flows. Whereas if you crack and open a fry a country egg, it will be more like firm inside. More, it will not spread as quickly.
It tastes different.
It tastes very much different. Yes, if you have eaten a real country egg, you will know completely. It's very different. We had chicken in our home when I was growing, so I know what a real egg tastes like. It's very different, very different. Even for duck eggs.
Where can you get country eggs in India?
I'm sorry.
Where can you get country eggs in India?
What I have done is I've told my maid. Our maid has chicken in their homes and in their little place where they stay. Other people have it. She brings it for me, both chicken and duck. But if you don't have access to something like that, then you probably will have to go to some village kind of area and ask people. Where you see chickens, you can ask them, I can pay a little more price, can you give it to me? And most people will give it to you. If they have it in excess, or if their family is consuming it, you can't do it. Even in US,
nuts also we have a limit, or we can have let's say 2 ounces a day.
No, you can have as much as you want.
Because I have almonds and blanched them.
Yeah, more than almonds, the other kind of nuts that are favorable are, your pistachios, Brazil nuts, walnuts, pine nuts, hazelnuts, macadamia, pecans.
These are all salted. Most of the pistachio is salted.
Yeah, you can salted. Get non-salted also. You have to look for them. You can find it. They are available.
What about walnut? You have to wash it before eating, or you can eat directly with the skin. Walnut.
Honestly speaking, I don't remove the skin, although I saw the message on the group that day. But it's a good idea to wash, mostly because they spray a lot of chemicals to keep the insects out. So it's a good idea to wash everything that we get.
What about almonds?
Same thing. It's better to wash everything because the exterior skin will have some contaminants from the storage. Even dal also has a lot of contaminants. They spray the dal to keep the the little insects out. So you have to wash the dal also very well. So all of these things need to be washed. Everything that comes in a packet needs to be washed.
Even seeds like sesame and pumpkin and all, we should wash and eat.
Pumpkin you can, sesame you would not. It will start soaking in the water. But usually what people do is they soak the seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, sesame seeds. They soak it, they throw the water and eat it. So you can do the same as well. Chia is almost always soaked.
Yeah, then it swells up, right?
Yeah, it will swell up. Yeah.
So there's another seed called sabja seed. Is that
I am super familiar with it. You can ask in the group and see what people say about it. I'm not familiar with that seed.
Basically, it's like the Indian chia seed. Chia seed in India is very expensive, so it's like 1/10 the cost, and it swells double the size. You can also Google it and let us know. It's called sabja or Turkmenia seed.
Okay. Tukmaria. Okay, yeah. I'll take a look at it. Yeah, looks to me that should be.
We have what Muslim people have in Faluda, kulfi Faluda.
Oh yeah. I got it. The little
black. Yeah, that one. So you just see, because I think that has omega-3. Just let us know if in the next session if we can eat that.
Sure. No, I think you can eat it. These are seeds, so no seeds have problems. Seeds are fine. All seeds are.
Time of this Jason Fung and all these guys say when you are hungry, when you are having a 20-hour fast, it's better to have one chia seed cup or one these seeds. So can we have it during our intermittent fasting?
You can, if you cannot control your hunger. See, what it will do is it will break your fast for sure. So you will not get the benefits of autophagy, but you will get the benefits of ketosis because the seeds are high in fat and low on carbs. So it will not break your ketosis. Your ketosis will still continue, but this one will break your autophagy benefits, your HGH hormones benefits, and all of those will break. So the best thing is to just be water, not even like green tea and black coffee, not even that, just water. And for me, I fast 21 hours. I never need anything, absolutely nothing. Yesterday I ate at 4 o'clock. It is 12 o'clock. I'm not even a little bit hungry. And you can see, do I look like somebody who is fasting for the last 20 hours? Do I sound like one? No, I have lots of energy, right? So that's what it is. You just get used to it very quickly.
What does autophagy in how many hours does it come in?
Autophagy will come after ketosis. So basically, if you are a person who is following low carb, high fat diet, so you will get into ketosis sooner than anyone else. So typically 17 hours is when it begins and maxes at 72 hours, but it varies from person to person, and there is no test for autophagy. So we can only assume that, okay, now I'm probably in autophagy and I'm getting the benefits, because the tests for it are, not available in a regular lab, or it's not a super quick test. But yeah, the 17 to 72 hours is what they say. But the benefit of autophagy is basically your dead cells are being cleaned up. The new cells are cleaning and eating up your dead cell and all the wastage that is out there. So it is cleaning up the body. It resets your immunity, resets aging issues. It resets a lot of things.
Somebody told me that if you do exercise during your fast, your autophagy might be stepping in little earlier. Is it true?
Yes, because your ketosis will step in earlier. When you exercise during your fast, what is happening is you're basically burning your fat more, because there is no energy in the body coming from external food. There is no blood glucose. So the ketosis becomes preponed, and because the ketosis comes in earlier, so does autophagy come in earlier. The other benefit of fasting during workout, working out during fasted state, is basically your human growth hormone is very high during that phase. So you are basically building muscle. It's your steroids. All your bodybuilders purchase steroids. Here you are getting free steroids every day. You can use it to build your muscle. That's why you experience strength.
You suggest brisk walking, or you suggest muscle lifting, weight lifting?
Muscle. Yeah. At the minimum, climbing stairs. But what I do is like heavy lifting. Like I'm able to lift much more during my fastest state, like squats, deadlifts, military presses, bench press, push-ups, all of those things.
You will gain more muscle, you think, because your growth hormone is high?
Yes, it is counterintuitive, because it sounds like because I'm fasting, how will I gain muscle? I should be losing muscle. The opposite happens. Actually, you will gain muscle. You can see your muscle tone definition within a month. You will see increased strength the very first day you work out. The very first day you work out, you will see, oh my God, I am lifting 100 kgs when I'm able to lift 60 kgs on a regular day. I'm fasting, I'm lifting 100 kg. It will go up 35%, 35. For me, 35% easily. If I go and work out in the evening after 4 hours of lunch, I will not have that kind of lifting power which I will have in the morning, especially right before breaking the fast. Like now I work out 4 a.m. to 4:30 a.m., 4:45 a.m. But before I used to work out at 12 p.m., right 1 hour, right before breaking my fast, like 16, 18 hour of fast. The amount of energy I will have, the power, lifting power is through the roof. If you see in the group, somebody wrote, Margi Patel, she has been fasting for just 4 days now, and she said, I'm better cognition and my exercise power has gone up. That's what she has mentioned. It is true. You will be able to lift more. She also does, lifting.
So athletes all over the world, they swear by vegan. You have guys like Virat Kohli in India who are vegan and promoting it. So since we are into this non-vegetarian diet, don't you think we should also shift to vegan diet?
I shifted, but I didn't shift really for anything else other than the mangoes. And I wanted to see how much is my willpower. See, I'm a Bengali hardcore non-veg fish eater. For me, can I stay off fish and non-veg? And I'm doing perfectly fine. It's been more than 2 weeks now. No loss of energy, no loss of cognition, no loss of lifting power, none. Sleep is still.
They swear by vegan because they say it increases your athletic performance.
Yeah, I'm sure they are seeing benefits, otherwise they would not be touting it. But understand that by vegan, one big change that comes is also going off dairy. And dairy, a lot of people are lactose intolerant, number one, and a lot of people, there is a lot of contamination in dairy. the dairy that we drink is actually completely unsuitable for, like, if you go and Google Indian health dairy, quality, there are government reports on
non-vegetarian people also can give it up. Non-vegetarian people, the diet which we follow, we don't need to have dairy, no?
No, we don't need to have dairy, but people have dairy. So in general, people
So
have dairy.
If you think we eliminate dairy totally, it will be better for even non-vegetarian, right?
Yes, actually, yes. That is true. Dairy has, in fact, when I also had, stopped dairy, I saw a lot of benefits. But after the lockdown, dairy was the only thing that was coming, predictably at home. And so I was making the curd and yogurt at home. It was all homemade. The good milk also was good quality. But point here is, if you stop dairy, you will see a lot of benefits in LCHF. Yes. So meat, you will primarily derive most of your calories from vegetables and fats like nuts and meat. But don't go overweight. Don't do too much meat as well, because that will be detrimental from a.
Yeah, he said don't go over 20%, so we won't do that.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, right. You're very kind. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, guys. Any other questions? All right, if there are no questions, so good luck. Again, we are 24/7 available in the group. Ask any questions, help each other, and all the best for everything. Keep us posted with your progress. Take care and have a nice Sunday. Bye-bye.